reporting on a new death count in Africa. Now we have 40 reanimated bodies, as well as I'm hearing 87 wounded and or dead. That's wounded and or dead. Reanimation is quick. We are hearing 10 to 15 seconds only. That is 10 to 15 seconds only. Some reports of the infected already coming out of Saudi Arabia, Portugal, Spain. A couple reports in India so far.
I'm barricading the fuck out of myself.
Best they can and quarantine anybody as needed. Already 8 separate countries have reported infection. That is 8 separate countries.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 31 Days of Horror. This is day 11. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. The Dead Part 2 was released in 2013. This is a sequel to, of course, The Dead, which is a low-budget independent film created by the Ford brothers, Howard J. Ford and John Ford. And the first film takes place in North Africa and is known to be the slow type, George A. Romero style kind of zombie movie that got popular for that reason. It wasn't very much talked about, which kind of surprised me. Even in the horror community, that seemed to be something that only hardcore zombie fans even knew about. I have seen the first one. I have not seen this one. This is the first time I'm watching this one, and it's been quite a long time that I've been wanting to watch this film, so better late than never, I guess. The first one was decent. I love the idea that they were going for, but the story behind that film is almost more interesting than the film itself, because apparently the Ford brothers went through hell and back to get that film created. It is a very slow burn, but I almost find it too slow. But I do love the African setting, and I do like the desert heat, and the zombies are perfect, like with the way they look and how slow they are. It's very Romero style. So I was very excited to watch this one. This one completely takes place in India, which I found to be another intriguing location for a zombie flick. I was just hoping that this one maybe took what the first one lacked and kind of improved on it. And I have to say that is the biggest positive of this film. This one literally takes everything about the first film style-wise and enhances it. I did find the first film too slow. This one, without a doubt, is a slow burn as well, so you have to know what you're getting into with this. It's, you know, you're not going to get a 28 Days Later with this kind of film, but it doesn't necessarily pick up the pace when it comes to being a slow burn. But what it does is offer a lot more going on screen, because a big problem I had with the first film, The Dead, is, you know, sometimes you would get, like, not even kidding, almost a 10-minute scene of your main character just repairing a part on a plane or something like that, and you get a lot of meandering when it comes to like fixing up a car, because he's a mechanic and he fixes things. He's a mercenary, basically, the character in the first film. Whereas this one, you get a character who basically is he works on windmills, and like the big ass windmills that they're found, you know, in rural areas. So he's kind of a maintenance guy for that. And then this zombie outbreak breaks out in India, and he wants to make his way to Mumbai to find his girlfriend. I do forget her name, I apologize. Basically, the film is him wanting to get to her. He runs into this kid named Javid, if I'm not mistaken, and he kind of takes him under his wing. He doesn't want to at first. He's pretty hesitant because he kind of wants to just get to Mumbai solo, and he doesn't want any distractions or anything slowing him down. The girlfriend's father does not approve of this guy whatsoever. The father doesn't trust him. The father doesn't want him anywhere near his daughter, but his only goal after this outbreak is to get to this girl. And I must say that everything, for the most part, was done better in this film. You can tell that it's the same directors. You can tell it's a Ford Brothers film, and you can tell it's a direct sequel to the first one. You watch them both and you know that it's the same people behind it. but this one is improved on for the most part. Now, where it lacks is the acting. I think the budget was spent last when it comes to the acting and the actors, because they're not really well known, first of all, and second of all, even with the first film, the acting is the weakest part of the whole project, in my opinion. I found that, you know, the budget was probably put into the effects most, and obviously locations, 100%. But that the acting does lack in this one, just like it did in the first one. I also didn't like the fact that there's a lot of English speaking in this, even though this takes place in India, and that always is an annoyance for me when you have a film taking place in a foreign country where they clearly would be speaking in their native tongue, but for some reason everybody is speaking English anyway. And there is some Indian in here, or Hindi or Punjabi, I'm not sure exactly the language, but there is some, but there's just too much English where it just starts to not make sense. I also hated a lot of the character decisions from the main guy. There's one thing in particular that happens with him involving his character where he does something that completely made me check out from wanting him to survive and you know, make it to safety, because I'm just like, I can't get behind this guy anymore after a certain thing he does. It also doesn't pay off very well afterwards, because it has to do with like running short on ammo, but then he does something, and then within the next 10 minutes he's just shooting down zombies as if he has like 100 bullets. So it's like, well, then why did you make that decision in the first place? It was just really frustrating for me to buy into the character and respect the character. So, but that was just more of like a personal thing. And then my last criticism is the ending. This film has an ending that certainly feels incomplete and hammed in, as if they just wanted to wrap the film up and didn't really have enough footage or enough of an idea to give this a conclusive kind of ending. So they decided to like kind of half-ass the ending, in my opinion. With more time focused on the ending, I think it would have been better. But they go for like this karma message, all the chaos and all the violence and all the tragedy that is going on with this zombie outbreak is kind of brought on by the characters themselves, and they kind of place themselves in their own hell by their bad choices made, which I get. Like I can get behind that, but it just was not executed very well. So those are all my negatives for the film. Positives obviously being phenomenal zombie effects, phenomenal practical effects. If you can get behind the acting. When it comes to the plot though, and the character development and the action stuff going on, like the actual zombie action, it's pretty fantastic. Like, this is on the top tier zombie films, and this is like what I would consider a quote-unquote classy zombie film, where you get pure George A. Romero throwbacks and inspiration and a love letter, essentially. And it is a huge improvement on the first film. So this one gets a 3 out of 5 from me. It's a very good zombie film and well worth checking out if you like zombie movies and you like classic ones. It's good stuff, and it's quite fun. It's worth seeing, and it's a very unique zombie film that you don't get many of these very often. So I can give it props on that. So that's Day 11, The Dead Part 2 by the Ford brothers from 2013. And if you like zombie films, keep your eye on both of them. I recommend both, but the second one especially. Thank you for watching my 31 Days of Horror. Thank you for being here up to this point, and until next review, sleep tight tonight.